Hey everybody, the live stream's gonna get started at 1 o'clock. Please consider this a sound test.
Hello, everybody. I hope you are all enjoying your Saturday afternoon. I am here right now at our Route 32 property of Catskill Animal Sanctuary. It's our much less often seen property. Hello, I'm with Caroline. We are right by Route 32, so it's a slightly less quiet property. And I apologize if you're picking up on any of the vehicle noises in the background. But we are about 5 to 10 minutes away from our main property, where all of our visitors come to say hello and meet so many of our wonderful residents. Where we're at right now is not open to visitors, so it's an extra special treat for us to be able to bring this to you today. And if you are just tuning in and you don't know much about Catskill Animal Sanctuary yet, we are a 148-acre refuge for rescued farmed animals like Caroline and her buddy Ollie, who I'm hoping is going to make an appearance. She says, "What kind of refuge is it if you don't continue feeding me ginger snaps?" I know. But what we do here is we rescue and rehabilitate those animals who are in urgent and dire need of our help. And then we ultimately want to help create a better world for them and for all of the animals out there who are in need, by sharing their individual rescue stories and then advocating for vegan living is the best possible way to help create a more peaceful world for these friends of ours. What do you think, Caroline? What do you think about that? She says, as long as ginger snaps are vegan, I'm good with that. And they are. So what we're going to do today is we have some Wi-Fi over here. We definitely have Wi-Fi in Caroline's field. So we're going to visit with her for a bit, and then we've got some pre-recorded footage of us visiting with our cows who are up on, like, way up on our property, where the Wi-Fi does not reach, so we aren't able to stream from there. But we've got a few segments, and you'll get to view those, and then we'll cut back to me, and I'll answer any of the questions that you have about our wonderful residents. So let us start with Caroline here while we're with her. She is definitely an old goat. You could tell she's not quite as young and spry looking as she once was. Was she? Yes. And she lives in this field with another very old goat named Ollie. We think of this as their retirement home in a way. And there is actually, I wasn't able to find it, but there's a beautiful photo of them sort of just sitting, relaxing, looking at the sunset together from their barn, right? So they just hang out here. They live alone because as they've aged, especially with some of the special health conditions that they've got going on, they've gotten a little bit achier, a little bit slower. And they aren't able to keep up with other goats as well, and they're just a little bit more vulnerable, so they can't vie for their food as easily, and it was just more peaceful for them to just be able to live the slow, chill life together, rather than trying to compete with all of the youngsters. And Caroline here has been with us since 2008, when she was rescued, or when she was surrendered to us, I should say, by a family who had been caring for her, but was having their home foreclosed upon in the economic crisis, and were no longer able to provide her a good home. So we're grateful that we were able to take her in and give her a nice, stable environment for the rest of her life, right? And you will be here with us for the rest of your life. That's our promise to her. Ooh, and we've got the sun coming out now. It was covered in snow. Our grounds were covered in snow earlier today, but finally spring is peeping back through. Are you going to walk away from me? What if I lured you with one more ginger snap? Oh. I've lost her, you guys. She's wandering out. she is probably going to go see her buddy, Ollie, who is out in the far edge of his field at the moment. And I don't know if we can get the camera lifted to get a nice view of Ollie over the fence here. But we do have Ollie. He's that big brown Nubian goat. Did you hear your name, Ollie? He says, I sure did. And I'm going to keep eating. Ollie has some pretty bad arthritis, as does Caroline, but Ollie's is particularly rough. So he gets anti-inflammatories and supplements to help him manage his arthritis. But you will see him walking around a little bit more on his knees because his joints are a little bit more achy. We're gonna come back to visit these guys in a bit, but while they're out in the far edge of their field, what I think we're gonna do, unless we've had any questions come up about Ollie and Caroline yet, what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna cut to our first footage of our cows, and I am visiting with Mondo in this footage.
There is one question before we cut.
Yes.
Angela says hello. It says hi.
Hello.
What do you look for in new employees? And that it's such a beautiful place. It is.
It is absolutely a beautiful place. So what we're looking for in new employees will usually vary by the job that you're going to be doing. Certainly, we're looking for someone who's in animal care who is comfortable being out there in all weather and, doing some of the really hard work that is taking care of farmed animals, large and small, and, making sure that we can keep their environment clean and healthy and all of that. For our office staff, it would vary depending on their role as well. But I think that the thing that really ties everyone together is just a passion for the work that we're doing here, and so much compassion for the animals. They've already been through so much. We don't want to bring people in here who are not going to value and respect them and, really give them all of the kindness and gentleness that they deserve. So that's the thread that ties all of our jobs together, really having that compassion for them. Yes. So we're going to visit with Mondo now. Lauren is just going to cut over to that video, so give us a second as we get that transitioned. Ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're going.
Hey folks, so I am up here in our cow field at Route 32. Is what we call the property because it's based off of Route 32. But I'm with Mondo right now, and Mondo is one of four 4-year-old cows who we rescued back in 2016 as babies. They were part of the Westport, Massachusetts animal cruelty case, where the ASPCA seized 1,000 animals off of a small farm in Westport, Massachusetts, and then those animals, the farmed animals, ended up being placed at various sanctuaries, Catskill Animal Sanctuary being among them. And we've actually got a flock of chickens over here from that rescue, and if you've ever visited our main property, you may have seen some of our rescued domestic geese who were also from this very same rescue. But Mondo came here. He was just a little guy, and we'll actually put up a baby picture in a bit on our live video of his friend Ting when she was a baby. And I think we've got a few others in the background of that photo. Oh, our eyes are rolling back in our head. Oh, it just feels so good. It just feels so good. You're such a good cow, Mondo. We love you. We do. And at first the babies were in their own herd. And they were very, very rambunctious when they were young. Oh my goodness, it was quite a time. We've since merged two herds. And they are all getting along pretty well these days. Mondo's definitely a little bit more of a cuddle bug. And we are very, very grateful to have all of these guys here. Hopefully they will live a nice long life into their late teens, early 20s. if everything goes to plan. Oh yeah, he's just giving me the next spot to scratch. Yeah, we gotta get the good scratches in there, don't we? We sure do. Oh, we need all the good scratches. The thing is, we're not really up here to talk about Mondo's story, but Mondo decided that he was going to steal the show. So I guess he's got a little bit of our Nina spirit in him. And I don't know if you've seen Nina steal the show on one of our other live streams. But yeah, we've occasionally got those residents who decide that it's all about them, right? You're just a little bit of a star, aren't you? Yes, we love you. We do. We love you. We're going to pause this here, and then we're going to go see if we can say hi to some of our other cows in this field without him interrupting. Hello everyone! I hope you enjoyed our initial visit with Mondo that we filmed just before we came down here to visit with Ollie and Caroline with you all. And I know that we got at least one question in while you were viewing that, which was, how do we decide which animals at Catskill Animal Sanctuary are going to be living at Route 32, which is an absolutely excellent question, because some of our residents, and we'll see a few of them later, have actually lived at our main property before and have been moved over here. Ollie, who I am actually who is the goat in this field, who we saw earlier, he lived at the main property before. Caroline lived at the main property before, and were moved over here. And a few of the cows who are going to be making an appearance later on in our live stream also did. So one of the things is just that we want to be able to give pastures a rest sometimes, and we want to be able to have everyone living where they're most comfortable, and to make sure that all of our residents have an appropriate amount of space for, their species. So we don't have enough space over at our main property for all of the cows who we are currently caring for. So we've got a cow herd here where they can roam in a nice big field up back. They live here, they're healthy, they could in theory be over at our main property. It's just that, they're well suited to living here. We try to keep some of our more outgoing residents at our main property, the ones who are actually really excited to see all of our visitors. And then some of the residents who we move over here when we're rotating fields and thinking through all of that are the ones who, could take it or leave it, or maybe even actively dislike having people coming through their home all of the time. And so this is closed to the public and is therefore a nice peaceful environment for them. And then we also have some of our residents here are permanently quarantined, and in particular we have a chicken flock who has ILT. They were rescued with this highly contagious virus that can cause just devastating respiratory symptoms for them. And they can't live over at our main property because they could easily infect all of the healthy birds who we have here. So we had rescued a big flock from Westport, Massachusetts back in 2016. We had actually rescued close to 100 chickens who were all sick with this virus, and they've lived here since they've been at the sanctuary. I hope that answers the question a little bit. Did we have another question?
We do have another question. Why is it hard to carry a conversation with a goat?
Is this a pun? Is this a joke?
It's not really a pun, no.
Oh, that's a good. Why is it hard to carry a conversation? Who asked this?
Lisa. Lisa's another member of my family, and apparently we are all just jokesters and like to share jokes.
I don't know. Why is it hard to carry a conversation with a goat?
Because they keep butting in. Hey! Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
And Sherry says thank you for answering her question.
Absolutely. And I also want to give you a little bit more of a view of some of the property that we have here. So I don't know how much you can see behind us. I've got one main barn here behind me where Ollie and Caroline live, as well as a few of our horses who are not currently visible.
There is a head visible. Oh, Kaden, move your head to the right a little bit.
So we'll see if we can talk about them in a bit. And then we have a nice rolling hill back here as well. And then if you keep panning a bit, you'll see that we've got a few other barns. They're not all in use at this moment for animals. But a few of them have some residents and are sort of kitchen space here. So we acquired this property a number of years ago. I'm forgetting the exact year right now, so I apologize for that. But it was a defunct dairy farm when we bought the land, and the barns, including this one, were just completely dilapidated. And we really had to invest some money into building them back up so that they could be habitable. And we're still working on developing this property and making it so that we can house more residents here, and just generally kind of bring this place back to the sort of freshness that it once would have been. And we have some staff housing on site here as well. That used to be intern housing. So when I interned here in 2014, I lived on the Route 32 property, and fell in love with the place, got to be around our residents all of the time, and have stayed on since. Yes, we've got another question.
As a related question, we had one earlier about what was the first animal sanctuary that you visited?
The first animal sanctuary that I visited was Woodstock Sanctuary, because I know. Lauren's giving me a look. No, I visited Woodstock Sanctuary when I was at Vassar College in 2012. So that was actually prior to me fully going vegan. I was vegetarian and a couple of days away from going vegan, I believe. And then after I visited a farm sanctuary, I came and I visited Catskill as well. And the rest is history, because I got involved with our internship. Yes, did we have any other questions that we should get to before we see some more of our cows?
I'm just going to say we love our friends over at Woodstock Farm Sanctuary.
We do, yes.
We hope that they are all doing okay as well. That's one of the things of being a sanctuary movement. There are many other sanctuaries out there, and we do work together. And we hope everyone over there is safe too.
Yes.
And meanwhile, more horses have come out behind you, by the way.
Yes. We've got a few more behind us. So we are going to, we'll talk about some horses in a bit, but what we're going to do right now is cut to us with, who was I talking with? I think it's Patty the cow. Yes, so we will get to that in a second. So I'm standing here with Patty as she enjoys some delicious hay for lunch. Hay for breakfast, hay for lunch, hay for dinner. That's the way we do things around here. That's just the way we roll. Patty is the oldest cow in this field. She would be at least 14 years old, but likely a little bit older than that. We did actually rescue her. She's more or less telling me I would like to eat in peace, so I'm just going to stand out here. This is our beautiful Patty. We rescued her back in 2006, along with some of our more famous residents, Amos and his friend Jesse, who you may have seen recently passed away, leaving us all with broken hearts. But Patty came along with them from the Catskill Game Farm when it closed down in 2006. And what did you think of that place, Patty? She says, I liked it less than lunch interruptions. That's right. But Patty, you know, she was living on this Catskill game farm in a part of their petting zoo. And the game farm had been operating for decades and decades. It was actually over 70 years that they were in operation before they ended up closing down. And when they shut down, they sold all of their animals at auction. And those animals were likely going to be sent to slaughter had they not been rescued. Thankfully, a group of animal sanctuaries was able to come together and to rescue these guys, many of whom were babies. They were just babies. Like Jesse and Amos, when they arrived here, were just such small guys. And now they're, you know, they grew up, and all of that crew is now an adult. But these guys, they were very, very lucky to be at the game farm when it closed down. Because had they been there when it was still in operation, likely what would have happened was when they were no longer good for the petting zoo portion of the game farm. We've got an interruption here by Mondo. I did say that we were going to try and get some footage. We were going to try and get some footage of the other cows without Mondo's interruptions. But we've got a nose in front of the camera. He would love to lick the microphone. Yes. You're like a little small version of Tucker. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because Tucker also loves those neck scratches. This is just going to be the Mondo show today, you guys. But Catskill Game Farm, petting zoos in general, when their baby animals grow up, when they're no longer good for the bottle feeding and the hanging out with small children on the game farm, and we've got a little bit actually going on back there as well, those animals are sent to auction oftentimes as, you know, juveniles, young, not babies, but less than a year old. And they're bought up by people who will send them to be killed. So the game farm or the petting zoo can buy new baby animals for the next season that they're open. And it's heartbreaking because these guys should live, again, 20, 25 years at times. They should have many, many good, loving, fulfilling adult years ahead of them. But as soon as they're not considered useful, as soon as they're not considered the type of profit that whoever is using them for entertainment, deems them worthy for, they're discarded. And so we actually have not just Patty, who was rescued from a petting zoo, but we've also got Daisy in the background here. So I'm going to actually walk us this way, see if we can get a little glimpse of Daisy without a Mondo butt getting in the way. So we'll see. But Daisy is this black cow here, who's looking at me, and she's got the little white spot on her head. She was also rescued from a different petting zoo when she was going to be sold to be killed. And then I'm sorry, no, there is not.
Hold on. We had a sound issue there. Can you say that again?
Are we working on sound now?
No, we should be good now.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks.
We got a comment if there was tension between us and Woodstock, and no, I'm sorry. I was reacting to Lauren making a face behind the camera at me, which was her teasing me for having not gone to the sanctuary that I've ended up devoting the last 6 years of my life to as my first visit. But Woodstock is an absolutely marvelous sanctuary, you guys. And they have done a number of joint rescues with us and have helped us out with these bigger rescues time and time again and take excellent care of their residents. So by no means is there tension. I apologize for that. Thank you, Woodstock, too. And we have Caroline stealing the thunder here. But we've got Ollie behind me. Ollie!
We can see his tail, by the way.
What do you think? Caroline, do you think you could move your cute little bump? She says I could if there's a cookie involved. Do we see Ollie now? Do we see this handsome guy?
There's our boy.
Oh, we love Ollie. And Ollie, you may have seen, I'm going to see if he'll come closer, but he might not because Caroline's so pushy. He's so pushy. Come on. Come on, bub. I know, it's hard to get around on those knees. They are not what they used to be. So, come on. You want to... Caroline is still stealing the show here, which is in true form. Ollie actually has a sponsor who comes and visits him over here at Route 32. So we have a sponsorship program where you can sponsor a specific individual, and then you get to have special one-on-one visits with them. Oh yes, you know where the cookies were being stored. But Ollie's sponsors, they came over here one day. I took them over for a visit with Ollie, and they visited with Ollie and they loved him, and he was just chilling. And then Caroline was like, "I also have a sponsor. You're also my sponsor, maybe?" And then just totally stole the show, which is totally fine. You are a handful. Ollie's kind of walking his way back to the greener grass a little bit farther away from us, but he was rescued with one of our goats who steals the show at our main property, Tigger. They were both brought to us by a family who had rescued them and was caring for them for many, many years, but unfortunately, as they got they reached a point where they were no longer able to care for them, and so they brought them here because I know.
Let me check. If you folks do have questions about the cows or the other animals, again, definitely make sure you keep popping them in the comments there. Is doing.
She is doing well. She's actually sort of just around the bend, so she is over here. This is a goat. I should say Minnie is also a goat. Dolores is a goat who lives with Minnie, who is just chaos on four legs. Lovely and delightful, but will also harass me the entire time we do a live stream. So we'll have to see if we do a special Dolores footage day where I am ready to rest up after just being walked around the field. She's so funny. She's headbutted flies before. She's very outgoing, loves her regular people, and actually loves visits by lots of people, but her communication skills are a little bit off compared to the other goats, where she's just like, we just headbutt all the time. But Minnie is just chilling. She's doing really, really well. Yeah. Any other questions so far? All right. So, I think what we are going to do is we're going to cut to one more cow footage. I'm going to get some more Caroline kisses in while we cut over to see the cows. And then we are going to talk a little bit more about those guys. Hey folks, so we are here right now with Bernard. Bernard and his buddy Calvin, who's inside at the moment, or just in the doorway of the barn at the moment. They were rescued as calves from a backyard veal operation a number of years ago. So they are now adult cows, but when they first arrived, they were so small and so sick. They needed to be in quarantine for quite a little while. They actually gave a number of our staff members Giardia. And had Bernard and Calvin not been rescued as babies, they likely would have been allowed to live less than 6 months in extreme confinement. And that is no life for a cow. It's no life for anyone. But especially an animal who really needs quite a bit of open grazing land. So we're super, super grateful to have them here with us today. What do you think? Oh, we might go check out the camera. Bernard's a big fan of licking the microphone. What do you think? Do you want to check it out? You did yesterday. Yes, you did. Look at those soulful eyes. Cows are massive, but they are, most of the time, incredibly, incredibly gentle, sensitive beings. And they seem to be able to really pick up on your energy. Oh, so itchy. Look at that slobber as we lick ourselves. Oh, so itchy. And we're picking our nose with our tongue, which takes skill, honestly. Bernard is pretty content to pick his nose with his tongue. I will say his buddy Calvin likes to find select tree branches that are just the right shape to help him with all those extra snoogers. So, who said cows can't use tools? Alright, we're going to cut back to our live now. I've got more lump of goat in front of me, because Caroline's just a love bug. So we had a few questions in there, and I apologize that the volume on our pre-recorded pieces are varied from what we've got going live right now. So we'll work on that for our next one. But what did the staff members get? The staff members got Giardia. When they were taking care of our little Calvin and Bernard. And Giardia is an intestinal parasite that is, yes, you are correct, undesirable. They were very, very sick babies, unfortunately, where they were being rescued from. And although when they were babies, we ended up having to wear quarantine suits in order to go in with them. They still managed to make a few staff members sick. So they had a very, very high parasite load that they had to be treated for, which is one of the reasons that they actually were just so absolutely skinny when they were first rescued. Poor little bubs. But as you can see, they're doing really well now, and get plenty to eat. We also had, I think, a question about our opening day. So right now, what we're dealing with is, everything is still kind of coming out, and we're not sure what things are going to look like as life returns to normal. Because things are not normal right now, and it's not clear that they're going to, fully return to normal. But for now, we're closed till May 24th, and then open after that. And we're going to make sure that we're keeping you guys all posted on any updates that come to that schedule. So you will, if you follow our social media, which you probably do if you're watching our YouTube live, you'll see some posts about that. And you can also subscribe to our Heard Around the Barn newsletter in order to get updates in your email as well. But yeah, it's been a rough time for sanctuaries right now, because as Caroline's story actually will kind of illustrate for you, she was given up in the 2008 economic crisis because her family fell on hard times and was no longer able to live in a home where they could have a goat companion. And we see right now, as there's a lot of uncertainty, that a lot of animals are in need of. Oh my goodness, are you just gonna keep? They're in need of rescue because, petting zoos that no longer have income, hobby farms that no longer have income. They're oftentimes sending their animals to slaughter, and sanctuaries are really here trying to step step in and continue to provide all of the care that we need to for our residents, but sanctuaries feel that pressure. We definitely are getting a lot of demands to take in animals who are now at risk. So we're grateful for everyone who will and does support the work that we're doing to make sure that we're able to, first and foremost, provide a good, stable home for all of our residents. Again, I feel like I say this every time, but they still do not know what is going on out there in the world. Things are just kind of continuing as normal for them right now, albeit slightly more quiet than they're used to on the main property on weekends, where they're like, hey, where are our visitors? But we're going to see if we can get a little bit more Caroline face in here.
She's just grazing around in a circle around the camera.
We're just doing that. But yeah, if you want to continue to support the work that Catskill's doing, you can text CAS to 91999, and we're incredibly grateful for your support. And again, thank you for tuning in as well, and continuing to stay connected with all of these guys. Did we have more questions about our cow friends?
Well, everyone was just saying that they were very jealous of you for getting to hang out with the cows earlier. So not a question, but folks, we wish that you could come and hang out with the cows here, and we can't wait to be able to invite you back.
Yes. See if we can get some Caroline in here.
Yes, Caroline. Caroline just keeps circling the camera. Come back, Caroline. Come back, Caroline. There she is. What a lovely girl.
We're just moving through. Gotta find the good grass at all times if you're a goat. Especially an old goat who's learned to enjoy all of the pleasures life has to offer, right? Yes. But yes, I feel incredibly lucky to have gotten to spend some beautiful afternoon moments with our cow friends here today. What are we doing? We just keep, we're not gonna cooperate with the with the camera. Oh, look at that face.
Yeah,
look at that beautiful goat face. Oh, we might get a nose boop, or she might not. Oh, we're just gonna... She is going to, she's gonna hang out with our camera person at the moment, Lauren, instead. So she's gotten enough Kaden scratches. She's gonna go get some Lauren scratches. Over here.
We still got her butt in the picture, don't worry.
Oh, good.
We got that nice butt.
Caroline is the softest old goat that you're ever going to feel, I think. She is... a lot of older goats tend to get kind of coarse, and she's got some coarse hair here and there, but she's pretty soft for such an old lady. And she's just kind of moving her... she's just kind of moving herself backwards. Oh, where are we going? We're walking away. You can see. As she walks away, you can see that Caroline is definitely on the skinnier side these days, which is a sign of her age. It's not that she's, malnourished at this point. She just has a harder time keeping weight on her. She does get some special old lady food to try and help her stay nice and nourished, and to be able to digest that more easily. So we do feed our senior residents special diets. Everybody here really is on a special diet for the most part, to make sure that they're getting all of the nutritional requirements that they need. And do we have any more questions? Because I know that we are doing okay for time, but we're going to be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. So I want to be able to answer any questions that you have about our Route 32 property.
Well, this is a comment left earlier by Diesel918. No question. You guys are just awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what? I believe that there are some awards that we're nominated for.
Oh, yes.
Also, this is very exciting.
So right now we are actually nominated for a few chronogrammys, which is a local publication. And I think Lauren has the specific titles. Gonna put her on the spot.
It's bed and breakfast. It's kids activity. Oh, and then I can't remember the other ones. You all are gonna just have to pop over to our social media.
Yes.
And check it out and see if I got at least those two.
Yes. So we do have our bed and breakfast. The homestead is nominated for the chronogrammys, and then our youth programming has been nominated. For kids activities. So if you want to go over there and vote for us as a local business and local nonprofit that you want recognized for the work that we're doing, we would be incredibly thankful.
I got them. They are Children's Attraction, Activism Organization, and Bed and Breakfast.
Thank you, Lauren.
Which all of that does kind of cover a lot of the work we do, doesn't it?
That
and the animals.
We are definitely an educational sanctuary, and we want to be able to welcome you all here, no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter your experience with farmed animals. We want to be able to share the love of the work that we're doing here with you absolutely every single day. Or specifically right now, during virtual programming, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 1 p.m. As well as if you want to do virtual kids activities, I should give Lauren a shout out. She had been working on this for a little bit before we even got stuck doing pretty much exclusively virtual activities here. But we have private virtual group tours as well, which is great for school groups. And you can find that on our website at casanctuary.org/visit, and you can also email Lauren at casanctuary.org for more information. So her email address is Lauren, and it's on the screen, so you can see it there.
And we have done a couple of them this past week, and it has been a blast.
It has been an absolutely great time. Caroline returns. Hi, beautiful. What do you think? Are you coming back for more snacks? I ran out of ginger snaps. You cleaned me out. Okay, so now she's gonna go check Lauren for some ginger snaps, and she's gonna pee in my general direction for not having ginger snaps.
I'm so sorry.
We are going to wrap up for today. I want to let you know that next week we have our regular Tuesday 1 p.m. virtual sanctuary visit with Lauren, and she will be talking all about the environment, but we are going to also have a special Earth Day virtual sanctuary on Wednesday for the 50th anniversary of Earth Day thank you, Caroline, for that nose.
Oh, no, don't eat that. Don't eat that. What just happened was we had a piece of paper stuck to the front of the camera with like a little thing that says like the camera is here, so we remember which way to look at the camera, so we don't kind of look in the wrong place. And Caroline found it and decided to eat it, which I think I got some of it, but I think she got a little bit of it. Is it gone? It's gone, isn't it? Says you didn't give me any more cookies, so I guess I better find another snack.
Goats are notorious for stealing paper. And she will be totally fine. It was just a little bit of a piece of paper. You're very naughty. You're very naughty. She's like, I can digest really high fiber things. It's gonna be fine.
You gotta watch out for the old ones, right?
Yes. You don't expect that they're gonna be such troublemakers, but you're still 100% goat, and so I should expect nothing less than a little bit of mischief from here, from time to time, right? Yes. She looks pretty content with herself at this moment. She's like, I got what I wanted. So now that you've gotten to see me chase a goat and lose, chase an old goat and lose, we are going to wrap up. I hope you'll tune in on Tuesday and on Wednesday, unless we had any other questions that I needed to answer before we wrap up.
Well, I think there was one last question
Alright.
about the working day and how long the working day is, and if there are times when we just get to enjoy hanging out with the animals.
Well, I have maybe one of the best jobs because it's almost my job to hang out with the animals. But yeah, so most of our staff do 8-hour work days. Sometimes in the summer, we'll do our animal care staff will do 10-hour work days, but for 4 days. And that allows us to kind of staff earlier in the day to later in the day, so that the animals can get let out for the longer summer days. But the rest of our office staff tend to do 8-hour days, and that is what I do. And I'm only on site right now for these virtual visits, and then I go back to my apartment and stay inside and stay home and stay safe, like we should all be doing when we can. So yes, and everybody does get to spend a little bit of chill time with their residents. I just get to be lucky enough to hang out with them for entire tours, right? What do you think, Caroline? She's like, I chill with goats all day long. It's great. It's a 24-hour-a-day job, though. But don't worry, we pay her overtime and hay. So we are going to wrap up now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Truly, it means a lot to us to have so many of you here and watching, and so many regular faces, or now I guess screen names. But I hope that you are all still continuing to stay safe out there, and I hope that you will tune in again next week. Take care. Bye.